So hi, sorry for the slow intro. I'm just getting some food ready here, just warming my food up. And I thought I'd do a quick video for you guys, a quick live stream, okay? So it's me, Richard Clark, aka Wushu Richard, Richard Clark Ninja, Uncle Dad, or whatever you want to call me. I'm looking a bit older than I used to look, right? Time does go fast. If you remember when I first started making my martial art videos and philosophy videos and fun creative videos and art back in the year 2008, time has gone very fast. I first put my first video up on YouTube in 2007 actually. Well, that's when it was actually made. I do know there was a video, but anyway, I really properly actually started, uploading videos to YouTube in 2008. And I want to thank anyone who's been watching my videos for that long. I've had multiple channels. My original Wushu Richard channel seems to have disappeared somehow. But anyway, I want to just say a big thank you to everybody. And I want to, in this video, remind everybody, I want to just give you some kind words for the sake of it, and with some heart, okay, meaning. So, your life is equal to any other human being. Every other human being and yourself, everybody on this earth, okay? You don't need to hate yourself and you don't need to hate anyone, okay? Sorry about this camera angle here. I want to just remind you, okay, that your life is beautiful. Always help yourself, okay? You do not need to live in this ideology that you are needing to prove yourself, to anyone. Okay? You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Anything at all. A lot of people live in regrets. Always live in the hope for better, or in the hope that they will be accepted by others. Finding their way. I'm telling you now, you're going to exhaust yourself. You're really going to exhaust yourself. I'm currently almost 43 years old. I'm 43 years old. That means just half of 86, right? I've always valued my life. I don't hate anyone. Okay. Everybody works in jobs as well. So if you're working in a job, don't hate on anybody, regardless. Okay. Everybody has a family that they came from. Okay, that's the fact. So everybody's a family. They came from mother and father. They've got a family. Okay. Or they came from a family, right? And we all live on this planet Earth together. Do you know money doesn't make a person, and a person doesn't make money. A person doesn't make money. Okay, money is given to you, and you may believe that you earn money from others, but that's just their own mind. Please excuse me for a second. I wanted to say, you do not earn from a person, really, though you may think that you do. Hold on 1 second. I'll be back in a moment. Just think about that. I'll be back. I'm just going to take my food in the other room. So, hold on 1 second, okay? Nobody earns anything from anyone. My deep apologies. Sorry about that. I just had to take my food in the other room, But let me just remind you, okay, let me just tell you guys that nobody earns anything from anyone. Okay, this idea that you earn money from people, that you earn their appreciation, their value, their respect, their, whatever it is, gratitude, remembrance, inspiration, motivation, friendship, love, kindness, all the good things, patience, understanding, trust. I'm sure you've probably looked at least some of those things I just said there, and you probably believe that for a fact that someone can earn them or lose them from someone, right? Right? How can someone say you don't earn trust from someone or forgiveness or any of those things, right? It's the same for bad things as well, right? So, like an attack, I'm saying you don't earn anything, okay? So, good or bad, you don't earn an attack, you don't earn a slap in the face, a kick in the nuts, abusive language, the opposite of any of those things I just said. So, hatred, anger from people, disrespect, anything like lack of understanding, like in terms of the opposite of kindness. All of those things, excuse me, all of these things are in a person's mind. You don't earn them. If somebody says words to you and you feel a certain way about those words, or if someone does something and you feel a certain way about it, they're not in control of you. They didn't earn you fighting them or giving them a hug or laughing or feeling good or feeling bad or angry or whatever. None of it. It's your mind. Because every person thinks in their own way. And we accept things and we appreciate certain things, or in some situations we don't. Some circumstances we're the opposite, we get angered by certain things. It's our own mind, what we think is right or wrong. So it's the same for other people too. It's not because of what you say, really, or what you do, that a person may trust you, love you, hate you, forgive you, whatever, buy you a gift or try and take something from you. It's all down to them. People blame others all the time. People blame others, okay, for their own actions. That's wrong. On their own words. The feelings, the thoughts, and the actions and beliefs and words and all the doings of a person. A lot of people believe that it's because of them. They blame themselves. I want to say they blame themselves, for it. They blame themselves, or they praise themselves. They tell themselves that they've done a good job or a bad job, in proving something to someone or how others treat them in return. They believe it's because of them. That's wrong. And they blame others, and they also in turn blame others for their own actions and praise others for their own actions. They're like, oh, I did great today because everybody's praising me and everybody's happy with me, laughing with me, but maybe they're laughing at me. Or they're like, I did a really bad job today, because you can see everyone here, or one person, or everybody, it doesn't matter what number. People often follow each other or just don't even know they're lost, But they'll be like, people other than me, myself, are unhappy with what I'm doing, what I'm saying, so therefore I must have done a bad job. You know, here's the thing, right? We often say that the world around us is like a mirror. But if you're looking at truth, yes, clarity, a clear mirror, like humanity, you know, but not a mirror in the dark or a mirror that's covered up with some fancy cloth, you know, with dirt, basically. You know, a mirror that's covered with all kinds of stuff. No, it's like you're covering it with your own ego, you know. The same way you cover your human body with a fancy silver or golden jacket or whatever you're wearing, you know. Okay. You know what I mean? You look in the mirror and you see the $1 million man or woman, you know, wearing his fancy jacket. You look at yourself in the mirror, fancy hair. I need my hair cut. My head's looking like the back of a chicken, but like you know, people look into the mirror and they look for that ego boost to make them feel good for today. And they look at it in total sorrow. I've got a battle ahead of me. I need to live up to this so other people will accept me. That's a sad, exhausting way to live. I would never want to be like that. Because there will always be different people that look at you a different way. And there are always people that will change, you know, in different times too, look at you differently. If you don't live your life as you, then who are you living your life, you know, as? What are you doing with your time? Who's this character you're playing? You know, to impress people, you know. But people look in the mirror and they want to see themselves. They try to see themselves as the $1 million, whatever, important person in society. You know, the one, the star, you know, the mayor of Ding Dong Land. They want to look the part, you know, the part of this show. They want to look like the one that everybody will give the title of such and such. They want this kind of person. Well, I'm that one. But if you don't see yourself truly there, if you can't see the truth back, then what use is a mirror? It has to be a mirror of truth. Life can be like a mirror if you can see it, if you have eyes for it. Okay? But you shouldn't be looking for yourself in others. You know what I mean? As it like that. You know what I mean? You look for truth or humanity. You know? So ultimately, we don't need to live our lives looking in a fake mirror, you know, looking into the mirror, expecting to see the character that other people expect us to be. You should look in there and truly see yourself, you know. And your chances are you won't see it in others. You only see the truth of self when you look into self and learn from true nature. You know, you don't need to prove anything to anybody. You don't need to prove anything to yourself, and you can't if you are not yourself. You're talking to yourself. as though you are them talking to you, you know? You're trying to prove to yourself that you can live up to other people's expectations. Just trying to be that character that other people expect you to be. You're trying to prove yourself to them. Even when they're not around. And you're at home and you're thinking about it. It's like, how many people think about that? About you, you know? Like that. Live true, you know, you're not below anybody. You know. When people treat you a certain way, it's got less to do with you than it has to do with their own actions, their own mindset. They can't accept themselves as being equal to you. You know, they have to be above others. They see equal. They see it like everything is always above them, you know. So they're always fighting, you know. Yeah. This is a bit spicy. It's some chicken and potato soup, homemade. Quite nice. Oh, excuse me, dudes and dudettes. It's so good. I gotta tell you, sorry, man. But truth is, you're not in control of everybody's mind, and they're not in control of yours. I'm drinking from the bowl, so please excuse me. In some countries, burping, belching, and drinking from the bowl like that is polite. You know, it's not bad, put it that way. And I want to just tell you, okay, the characters that people play, wow. The role they try to play in society. It's a very sad one. You shouldn't play a role, you should be the true self. You shouldn't have fear of what others think of you. Any negative thoughts and attacks from people come in there from their own mind. It comes from fear. Okay? So you shouldn't be living like that. You should be in truth of respect and valuing yourself. Let me go back to what I was. I'm going to wash this bowl. Please excuse me for a second. I'm going to make a nice cup of tea in a moment as well. Yeah. Could have made coffee, but I'm going to make tea. I want to just say that, you know, nobody earns anything from anyone. You know, you can't earn anything from anyone. And they can't earn it from you. Hold on one second. I have said in the past about regaining trust and re-earning trust. Like, let's say, for example, if someone did something and they was untrustworthy, and you know, in that moment they let someone down, you know, you could possibly say that the person may be able to regain trust, or let the person forgive them and trust them again. You know, but ultimately, it's still in the other person's mind how that person feels and thinks about you, or about anyone. You know, it's not really that you control a person's mind. Therefore,
what I'm saying is, I'm not telling you to be rude to anyone. If you're rude to people, the chances are they may get angry. Okay, with good reason to be, because if someone's rude and mean, the chances are they're kind of not very nice. They're not in a good mood. So maybe that person is could even be hostile. So if someone's yelling at you or being very aggressive, the chances are, just watch that. The chances are maybe the person might want to fight you, right? So of course we're all kind of on edge when someone's not very nice towards us, because we want to know, why that person's doing that. What are their intentions? There's no smoke without fire, right? So if someone's behaving a certain way, they're showing something, some of their feelings, and there's obviously a need there. And whatever their message be, like a lot of messages, whatever a person's messages be, the message is usually coming from some kind of insecurity, you see, in themselves. And sometimes it's okay to have fear or nerves about something, or let's say, what's the word, to be concerned about things. I think we all are. I mean, even Mike Tyson's spoken about that before. And so do the wild animals. Tigers and lions, they get a bit startled sometimes, they get a bit on edge, That's why they're so ready on the attack, That's why they're so ready to fight for what they have to, for their hunt or whatever it is, So the point I'm trying to say is, no matter what, it's all in that person's mind. It's in the person's mind, you see. If someone is being nice towards you, again, you don't really know their intentions, if you can trust the person or not, right? But again, that trusting, whether you have good grounds based on past experiences or not, or whether it's now the perception of a person, how you see them, that trusting or non-trusting is within you. Now, a lot of people have problems. They find problems with the behaviour or the words of people around, how they are around them. They're not okay, they're not calm around certain people in certain situations, because they're thinking a step along the line. And you say, well, it's good to think ahead. You don't just see them now, you've got to think ahead in the long run. Yeah, but we can't jump the gun either. That means we can't. There's a game that people play in the past, little thing that people have done with young people where they've said, let's say, for example, I count, and I count one and you take a step. I say one and I say two and you take another step. And before I say three, you step and you make that step. So this is the thing. You bite off more than you can chew. If you're running for the bus or running up the staircase or something, and what happens? You slip on the ice and you have an accident. You hurt yourself. Let me get my cup. Hold on, guys. Nobody is better than you. My grandmother used to say, my nan, okay? Nobody is. But she also used to say, stand up and be counted, which also has good value in what she's saying. But the thing is, at the same time, why should you worry about being counted in? Like, there's a certain level, I believe, like in society, I mean, if you're with a group of people and you're all in the jungle or you're all in the desert together and everybody's handed a bottle of water, but you're not, or they're treated unfairly, I understand that, right? Why you would bring that up, and say, look, hey, I'm here too, where's mine, But at the same time, we shouldn't be slaves to people. And the main point is, it's the mind. Too many people are like this in situations where they don't have to be, where they're just really concerned that somebody else thinks good of them, right? Or definitely good rather than bad. Or hopefully even better, even. It goes to their head,
If you value yourself, you'll do things for yourself that's meaningful. You will avoid things and people that don't value you. That's what you'll do. So, okay, for those out there who have been treated a certain way or are constantly worried about how people may treat them, just understand, okay, that as long as you're positive in yourself, okay, that doesn't mean giving people advice all the time. It doesn't mean, I'm being positive by helping people. They don't want to take my advice. No, people don't want that in their face all the time either, okay? People's minds and experiences are different. Sometimes we're wrong. What we may perceive to be right for others may not be, just because you think it's right for yourself. If we do that, we become the same as those people sometimes with the ego, the negative ones. Don't keep begging in your mind, pleading in your mind and exhausting yourself trying to get good, from people, the blood from a stone kind of thing. Whether it be anything good, to change their ways. You just cannot sometimes change the way they think. The way they actually think is developed almost like, you could say, almost, I'd say, to the level of like a banana tree, how that tree has developed in such a way that all it will produce is bananas. The reason I say it's almost the same is because we can say it's the same. This person's like that. But the reason it's not the same is because a lot of that negative behavior in people, negativity, which is the essence of death, it's not the essence of life. That's unnatural. There is no death in life. So their hatred and anger and all those things, frustration, where those have become developed habits through life. They've developed in a strong way over years and years that their mind now produces this kind of language and behavior. However, it's not exactly the same as the banana tree because it's not totally natural. It's a way of behavior that they've grown up in a certain culture or whatever it is, upbringing, or they've grown up in rough situations and different situations, that their mind is in a state of, it's very difficult for them to get out of that habit and break out that habit and go back to find any old personality that you used to have had. So it's developed the tree in their personality. So to speak. But make no mistake, though people may look physically strong, though people may have words of boldness, the show of boldness, that is coming from weakness. You have to understand that. Okay? If it's negative, it's weak. That's all it is. It doesn't matter. Okay. The positive person knows life so well and feels it still. If you know yourself, you will know that there's only one of you, and you have to value each and every individual. That we're all human beings. You know what I mean? Someone who doesn't value themselves, someone who doesn't at all know themselves clearly, to then, as I say, naturally be able to value themselves, because they just don't even know themselves clearly. If you knew yourself, you'd see the value is there. But someone who doesn't know themselves only knows the crowd, and that's what they try to impress and fit in with and compete with, which doesn't make any sense. They believe everybody else to be lost because they are. Again, people have said, takes one to know one. And if you were to know yourself, you would then know that you are this unique being, and each human in the human race, you respect them because you know every single one is an individual. You wouldn't be talking over them. You wouldn't be trying to prove anything. You wouldn't compete with them. You wouldn't know that they are not above you and you are not above them, and it's just right there. The deeper you study yourself, the deeper you
develop certain skills and abilities within yourself, you will realize that there are people out there who also may have different levels of different knowledge and ability. And when you look at the whole human race, you will naturally be able to realize that there's something there which I can learn from. You know, there's more I can learn from. If I keep competing with others, I'm going to miss the opportunity. You know, that's the whole point. Don't miss the opportunity. And if you do happen to not be in the crowd for whatever reason, maybe it's their reason, whatever, and you're not in that circle or whatever, it doesn't matter. That is not you. You are you. Okay, if things are not meant for you, the apple tree does not cry that it doesn't have bananas growing on it. You know, the bananas don't cry that they don't come from an apple tree. And when you go to the restaurant, you don't know which chef made the food oftentimes. Right? And the money that has been passed through hands through the years is unbelievable. It's like people's lives. Don't pass your life, on like that. See the value in the here and now. With your free time, too, your free empty head. What you can do with it. Hold on 1 second. So always see what you can do for yourself, but don't look at yourself like you need to prove anything to anyone, because you can't do it. The countless people that may have been fed to different kinds of wild animals, different ones here and there, by kings in the ancient times, where there may have been the jester dancing, performing a show and doing magic tricks and all kinds of actions for the kings of old. And the king laughed when he saw it. And then the following day he laughed again. And then on the third day he was like, this is boring now. Feed him to the wild animals. If I talk about which wild animal, if I say a lion or a crocodile, if I was to say the animal's name, then in your mind you would think of this animal, the picture. It would kind of distract you from the point of what we're talking about here, see? Because you'd be thinking about that animal and everything about that animal. It's okay if you're studying that, but we shouldn't leave this topic, this here and now, the self, see? We are running away to other solar systems almost. You are right here. You see what I'm saying? Don't keep going to other places far away. Don't keep going to the two if you don't have the one, see? So we need to understand what we're doing and how our mind is working, functioning. It's not just the thoughts or the words and pictures in your mind. It's the functionality of your mind. How are you thinking? Why should I feel so bad? Why should I feel so good? Little chocolate snack. Why should I feel so bad? Ask yourself. For we were all given birth to on this earth. And you walk around with a fancy suit, a fancy outfit, decoration, a fancy hat, a gold chain around your neck. You want to look like someone of value. That's called selling yourself. You may call that being realistic in this world, because everybody's fake, and that's the way you get by. I said that's the way you waste time. Wasting time and energy. The rich man doesn't show off. The strong, confident, strong man doesn't even feel like the need to prove or show anything. He doesn't even think about that. He's calm. You know? And if you know, you know. You don't keep talking about it. Whenever someone's telling you all the things they know, what they are saying is, I don't know more than this. As in the whole thing. I mean, they may know more than what they're talking about in that moment, but I mean, in what that came from, the whole thing, you know. This is it here. You know, they show you what they have. They show you what they're about. When they hide, they show. When they show, they hide. When they are deceitful, see, they are showing the deceit in what they show or what they're hiding, you see. And what they show you, they're showing what they're hiding. See, but what they're hiding, they're showing you something to cover it up. See, they use nothing or something. They're always using something or nothing to cover up. You know what I mean? This disguised camouflage, you know. It's like they'll show you the invisible cloak, the invisible garment. They'll cover something. Look, an invisible garment. Look, there's nothing here. He's disappeared. Oh. Everything's fine. You know, we're just covering up the fact that there's something there. No smoke without fire. So, they'll talk to make things seem as like there's no peace here. Like there is a topic to talk about. You know, to show something, to make it seem like there's something there. Or they'll do the opposite. They'll keep quiet when there's something to be known. They'll hide when there's something to be shown. But you should not be worried about what people are thinking. You should not be worried for the things you don't know about. It becomes a paranoia, a mental illness state. You should not waste your own energy. You should cultivate it. I'm going to finish my tea and stop this live stream. I've got some stuff to do. Thank you for watching. Value your life. It's a beautiful life.